During the coronavirus pandemic, Pope Francis has sent aid to almost 200 charitable projects in Latin America and the Caribbean. The Vatican's COVID task force is overseeing these donations and assisting the church worldwide in facing the pandemic. Joining us now is Father Christopher Mahar of the Healthcare Services Office in the Dicastery for Promoting Integral Human Development. He is also part of the Vatican's COVID Task Force Working Group. Father, welcome to the program. Great to have you on. So tell us, how is the task force assisting the Holy Father in sending out donations around the world? And also, where's that money coming from?
Thank you, Tracy. It's a great question. First of all, the task force is gathering money from those who are willing to be generous in their donations and their charitable works at this time, especially being struggling in so many different nations throughout the world. Everyone is struggling with this, right? So it's hard for people to be generous, perhaps, at the point of their greatest need. But that's only one of the work groups that's helping us right at this time. So the task force is actually set up with also a communications piece, trying to reach out to others about what the good news is, about how the church is responding really well. My part is part of work group 1, which is the listening group. So we're trying to listen to the local church and find out where people are in their own struggle in the local church. And so we've been listening to religious congregations that are working in healthcare. We've been meeting with chaplains, both in prisons as well as hospitals. We've had video conferences with bishops throughout the world that have helped us to get a good sense of where that struggle is locally and how they're responding many different ways throughout the world.
You just mentioned that you've been reaching out to the bishops. What are you hearing from them? And then also, what are the major concerns? Thank you, Tracy.
Yeah, what we're hearing mainly is obviously a great concern of the shepherds of the church for the health care itself. So people that are really struck by this global pandemic, obviously it starts there with the public health crises. But more than that, they're also telling us about some of the vulnerabilities, some of the struggles that people already had going in. So with poverty, with places in the world that are really struggling economically, with inequalities, with a lot of the injustice that happens in the world, the coronavirus crisis has exacerbated that. And so they're telling us that many people really need help in a particular way. Not just with material help, which is what we're trying to do for them as well, but also the great message of the church's hope. You know, Pope Francis is focusing in these days in his catechesis on faith, hope, and charity. So this is the spiritual solidarity with the poor that we're trying to communicate for those that are most in need.
Father, also just curious, what do you think is the one thing that people are really needing right now?
I would say hope, Tracy. I think people really need hope. In some of the places that we've listened to and parts of the world that are not particularly Christian at this point, or perhaps that have a Christian background that are struggling to make that a reality, whether it be very, very deeply immersed in their faith or people that don't have faith at all, they're struggling to find hope, which means we have a future. And Pope Francis has been very clear for us, we are here to prepare the future, which he says is different from preparing for the future. So Pope Francis is very clear about that. To prepare for the future means that there's a grim reality that's coming towards us, and it's sort of a fatalism that there's nothing we can do to change that. To prepare the future, Pope Francis has been very clear, is to have hope. It's to realize, you know, that our choices today, because of the supernatural grace of God, faith, hope, and charity that are present, and Pope Francis has done beautifully with this in his own catechesis this past Wednesday. We'll continue to reflect on that the supernatural grace of God and these theological virtues help us to live well the Church's social teaching. So we see solidarity as being one with the poor. We see solidarity as sharing the great resources, material and spiritual, with those who are most in need. But we don't just ask for that. We make it a reality by acting and moving forward in faith, trusting that the Holy Spirit will be there to engage us as we do that.
Well, Father, thank you so much for your time today. We really appreciate it. Father Christopher Mahar of the Healthcare Services Office in the Dicastery for Promoting Integral Human Development. Thank you again, Father.
You're welcome, Tracy. Thank you.